Understanding native speakers when they speak to you really quickly and they say a lot at once can be very difficult to understand. And if you're just starting out, it can be demotivating because you're trying to understand what's being said, but you're not really getting anywhere. So it can really hinder your motivation. In this video, I'm going to do something a bit different where I talk with a native Italian speaker who's called Giuseppe, who can actually speak 7 different languages. So he's a polyglot essentially. And I'm going to have a conversation with him, a bit of Italian, mostly English, and we're going to talk about how you can break down when someone says something really quickly to you in your target language and how to understand it and not be demotivated. So you can keep your motivation and ultimately be consistent. So I'm James, I'm a native English speaker, però parlare español e anche posso parlare italiano. So I've cut the video, so essentially you can see Giuseppe get straight into talking rapid Italian, and I'm there trying to understand bits of what he's saying.
C'è un elicottero in questo momento che sta passando sul cielo e mi domando, ma l'elicottero dove sta? Forse è un elicottero blu, non l'ho visto. Poi dopo, ma comunque ieri ti volevo dire, sono andato al mare nel centro d'Italia.
Basta. Exactly. I understood bits of what Giuseppe said, but now we're trying to deep dive into exactly what the words are. And at this point, it doesn't matter what the connective words are like. Also, therefore, they don't matter. What matters is you're getting the key words that gives you the context of what he's chatting about, basically.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for this interview, James. So, speaking six languages, I came to realize how important it is to handle our brain, to understand how our brain works, and to understand why we're motivated, why we're not motivated, and how to be consistent in the language. Because just being consistent is just half of the work. So when we learn a language, there is a lot of information we don't know. I call them ambiguous zones or ambiguous information. And what we do is, as the verb says, disambiguate this ambiguous information. So let's say that now there is, it doesn't matter really what I say. I don't want you to get fixated on the details, but let's say that there's this phrase. This is a piece of information and an input, audio input. In this bit of information, there are bits that your brain doesn't understand. There's word, there's whatever the cause is. Your brain doesn't understand. So what does the human brain? What the human brain tries to do is this ambiguous zone, and it wants to clarify it, disambiguate as quickly as possible on the spot. Now let's give an example. Let's say that pick, even if you understand everything, just pick something you don't understand, and I want you to really have the same behavior of the speaker, practitioner, which wants to immediately understand what it means and will stop me, and will continue stop me and pausing me, and won't let himself or herself develop the context, and instead it will pause me every time there's ambiguity, it will pause me, basically. Let's try. Sono in una foresta bellissima con gli alberi verdi, sono bellissimi, questi alberi sono bellissimi. Mi sono divertito un sacco nella foresta. Pause me at some point. Mi sono divertito un sacco e alla verità mi è piaciuta molto questa.
Yeah, so you said something about many people.
Right.
So many people. What was the word again that you said about many people, and what adjective did you use? Like beautiful or what did you say?
Tante persone. Nella foresta ci sono tante persone. Keep me.
Yeah.
Nella foresta ci sono tante persone, però non vengono.
After that bit, nella fretta something, tante persone.
Nella foresta ci sono tante persone. Nella foresta ci sono tante persone, però non vengono spesso perché ci sono tanti animali, insomma, magari non si fidano alla foresta.
Animals. Ci sono animali. I understood that. Then animali. The bit before that, are you saying that there are many animals? What do you mean by that?
Tanti animali. Ci sono tanti animali, e quindi nella foresta ci sono tanti animali.
Right, there we go. Quindi, I know that quindi means so, like therefore.
Okay.
Then a bit after that, what did you say, sir? In quindi, nelle mani.
Right. Perfect. Now this is great. This is similar to the experience of what happens. Now we're out of that scenario.
Yeah.
What happens is you're giving more importance to the rationalizations of your brain and trying to understand that, than the context that's behind it and the emotion that's behind it. And that's basically the whole point of this conversation. In this case, by stopping me and pausing me, you're not letting your brain form the emotions and the context that is the base of where the language sticks. Is the base where language sticks.
Yeah.
The language sticks with emotion and context. That's the base where it sticks on the long term with
Yeah.
subconscious mind. Let's say this best way not to learn language. Questa è una foresta. Una foresta è questa articolo dimostrativo, questa foresta, quindi femminile, questa foresta,
Yeah.
quindi questa foresta, non quella, però questa perché è vicino. Basically,
Yeah.
what I'm doing is everything but
Ah.
context and all about rationalizing everything.
So you mean basically your point is that the way that many language schools or language courses, not dissing them, but there's a place for them, the way that many of them do it currently is to teach you how to say the table, the cat, and why is it the, and then what is it for plural or those and things like that, and you're studying the grammar side of things before you can even say, could I have a beer please, for example. So you're focusing on the structure of the language rather than trying to understand it as it flows and accepting that you won't know every single word, but you're saying that the better way of doing it is being in the flow of what's being said, understanding the context, emotion, and not breaking it down into the granular at this point.
Yeah, you want to do that as well, but until you get to, let's say, roughly B2 level, the learning is mostly emotional, and the current way the languages are being taught is the focus on the rational mind and all its constructs through tables, lists, endings of prepositions, conjugations. These are just the byproducts and the children of the rational mind. That's not how language are really learned, you know. So what we're saying
Yeah.
here is complementary, not. It's just really a complement to, and tackles the subconscious side of things, how languages are actually learned, and the languages learned with emotion and context, and on that context, emotion base, that's where the stuff,
Yeah.
all the other stuff sticks, basically.
I see. Yeah. So is in the same sense, really, how like you have babies or small kids who are trying to learn a native language, they don't sit down and look at tables and deconstruct things. They listen to what's going on.
Perfect. And think about this: the rational mind of 2 years old is not even there. You know, like I don't know exactly like from a psychiatric or whatever neurological point of view, but what is
Yeah.
the capacity of for rationality of 2 years old, 3 years old, and they cry,
Yeah.
it's my book. What's the rationality of that? So if the rational mind is not even there, how in the world are they be able to learn language if they are arguing for, oh, it's my key? You know what I mean? So if
Yeah.
we think about it,
Yeah. If their reaction, like crying, isn't logical, it makes no sense. How can we think of them as really good at learning the native language if they can't use logic or rationalize at this point? They must use purely emotion. So that's where the sense.
one language, two language, three languages. I saw mom in really a few hours ago. Spanish, German, Italian. You know, because she's Latino, but living in Germany and then living in Italy. So three languages, 12, 4 years old. You know, and you're not even a teenager, and you're already speaking languages without even making that much of a cognitive rational effort. Without even know what rational mind is. Learn.
With that said, given that like kids and infants can learn multiple languages so quickly, then the point of where people say, oh, you best to learn language when you're younger, the majority of that, the point behind that is probably because they're using emotions 100% rather than logic. And as adults, we use logic too much. So that's why it might be easier.
Yeah. You can be a child. You can still be a child. Still, you don't have to learn language when you're a child. If you're not a child, you're screwed. You can just be a child when you're adult. Just involve your. How do you do that? Well, just be more silly, I guess. Just be more silly. Find how languages are weird. Like the other day, I was having this conversation how the Italian numbers are made. From
Yeah.
11 up to 19, because we say 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, but then we have to say 17, 18, 19. But no, we don't say that.
It changes.
Right, sorry
Yeah.
that they just laugh so much. We don't say that. We say 11, 19, 12, 13, 14, 15, then 10, 7, 10, 8, 10, 9. Why do you
Yeah.
say that? So if you are curious and you notice the weirdness and the irrationality and the emotionality of languages, not only are you gonna have so much more fun with it, learn them, but they're gonna stay in your bypassing your rational mind. They're gonna go in your emotional mind.
That makes sense. That makes sense. To be fair, and it's like the word for car in Italian is macchina, and in my mind that's like, oh, it's like a machine, and it is. So if you can relate to it in some other way, I mean, oh, that's quite funny. It literally means machine in this language, then it sticks in that sense. So
Yeah. So yeah, make it weird. Make it. There are three rules for memorization.
yeah,
Make it a movement. Make it weird and make it emotional, because that's how our brain remembers.